So it's Crown Prince squash, probably 4.5, 5 kilos in weight. We're going to chop it up safely. Let's trim it up first to get these scabby bits off.
They're just from growing, really.
That causes them.
No.
So use a normal. It's a toolbox saw because it fits inside a toolbox. It's a normal carpentry saw otherwise, but this is the safest way
We
think of cutting up a squash. It's very thick skinned. If we just go in with a knife straight away, we risk it slipping off and causing an injury. So.
We like to put them in the freezer because it's handy, rather than having to chop up the squash when we're cooking. This will Mark will chop it all up and we'll put it straight in the freezer. So it's now all in quarters.
Oh, that's right.
He's going to cut the little stem area off. It's a hard little bit, so it's going to go on the compost heap. The same with the stem, he's cutting that out. So that's the two bits. I'm going to scoop it out. Scoop the seeds out. We're not keeping these seeds because it's a Crown Prince and this one is an F1 hybrid. So there's no point keeping the seeds. I most probably would get some squash of it, but usually the hybrids, if you keep them for the second year, they don't produce as much. The seeds, some people keep them for pumpkin seeds. I haven't done that yet, but you can clean them off and toast them, I believe. So that's all the seeds scooped out. Like I said, I'll throw that on the compost heap to compost. What's the matter? Are you waiting to be helped? It's a safe angle. Chops them in smaller chunks. So Mark's now chopping them up in smaller sizes, and this works quite well.
Well, it's the safest way, isn't it? You chop them saw them into smaller chunks, and then you can safely
cut them into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
This is now going to go. We're not going to do anything to it. We'll put this straight into a plastic bags and freeze it, and then we'll use it in roasted vegetables, or we use it in curries, soups, what else? Well, whatever your recipe is, you know. But it's just very handy that it's just ready to go when you need it. We fill these bags up quite full because they don't stick together. The squash, not really. So it's quite easy to just take out what you need as and when you need it. We've heard of other growers that use a machete and some use an axe. Didn't somebody use a spade as well? I think there's spade, so everybody uses a different type of tool. Marcus prefers the saw. So as you can see, we leave the skin on. Yeah, Mark?
Very important when you're cutting the squash up that it sits stable on the board. You don't want it sliding off. This one's a bit
wobbly. We leave the skin on because we find that it's actually quite edible. Pretty edible, don't you say, Mark?
Yeah.
when you've either roasted it in soups, it gets blended up, so there's really no point in removing the skin, but you can do if you really don't like the thought of eating the skin. But because they're grown organically, we feel there's no need for it, so that's why we leave the skin on. So that's 2 bags. I've just weighed them. They're just under 2 kilos in each one. So there was a 4 kilo squash. And these are the tools we used. They're a little hand saw, the 2 knives, and a little one for cutting out the stem and the bottom bit of the squash. We feel for us it's the safest way to cut up the squash, and those bags are going to go straight in the freezer now. So